Well, it kind of just fell into place, really. I knew that I wanted to take something, like learn something about Chinese culture in particular. So I wanted to learn a little bit about the instruments and the traditional music. And why I started doing it, it just kind of happened naturally. I was around this stuff, and when I went to reach for different samples, or I went to reach for different things to put on top of the music, they were there, so that's kind of how they got their way into my music. Thruoutin was a name that I came up with in college when I was writing tracks for the first time and just needed a name besides my own name. And I had a synthesizer that I was doing a lot of tracks with, and on the back of most synthesizers you have MIDI options. And with MIDI you can do an out signal, an in signal, and a through signal on some synthesizers. So I saw that on the back of the synth and I was like, well, that looks cool. I'll just be called thruoutin. So then since then I've been using that name. I do try to pay attention to trying to get the sound as clean as they can be, but I really like having the organic elements in there. So I'll use a lot of field recordings, but I'll try to blend that with, sounds that are more digital. Just try to find that medium to where it's not too dry, and then it's not too just loose. Something that is in the middle of both of those in a way. Well, my background was with string instruments. I studied bass as a kid around like 12 to 15, and by that picked up a little bit of guitar. So Pipa is a stringed instrument and a 4-stringed instrument as well. So it's not as complex as something like guzheng, which has far many more strings that would be more difficult to learn. So when I started playing with different Chinese instruments, the Pipa was just a good ease into that. It's a pretty hard instrument to tame. It has a lot of treble on it, and the way to make it work with electronic music, which is very digital, and something that's very folk or analog acoustic. So to make those two work, I just treated it like some way to just produce notes and get that recorded. And once the maybe session I did was recorded, from then I could take out parts that I liked and, depending on the recording, fit them in with the electronic stuff that I'm doing. I would say that less and less people are studying these instruments, but there's a lot of students who have to learn an instrument anyway, so they might take up a traditional instrument versus piano or flute or something Western like that. I wouldn't say they're necessarily dying out, but the majority of people are not exposed to them maybe like they used to be. I really hope that my background, where I'm from, can transcend my music can transcend that. So it's like, maybe, it has to be this American guy who's using Chinese stuff. Maybe just like, that's thruoutin's music, that's just what it is.
Seippel.